Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 448 of the Two Dumb Yinzers, and I wanted to say specifically, especially today, hello, 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 hello. Yeah,
We've gone British apparently.
we've gone British. I thought Mike was going to join in, but he didn't join in.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Yeah. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing better than the Steelers.
Mm, Steelers. Oh, that's right. They played.
Yeah. Well, hey, the Penguins won.
Penguins did win, and they lost. Saturday they lost 4-2 to Carolina. Yesterday they
That
beat
doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. They won
Golden
Sunday.
the Golden Knights of Las Vegas last night. Another shutout. What can you say?
Yeah.
It
Whoever's
wasn't.
in goal is getting a shutout every time.
Yeah.
Every time I tune in, they're getting a shutout.
So we like that. That's a good thing.
Yes.
As long as we hang on that, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Oh, hmm. Anything new with you, man?
No, nothing new.
You
Uh
ready for Thanksgiving?
I am ready for Thanksgiving. I can't wait. Um I can't wait to cook. I'll be firing up the kitchen at the studio, cooking for everyone at the studio. So I'm pumped.
And you know what I'll say when I see you there? Hello,
Hello.
hello, hello,
Hello.
hello,
Hello, Governor.
hello, governor. Oh, I guess we'll talk about them Steelers.
Do we have to? Could we just keep going? Hello, hello.
Well, as much as I'd love to, and I say yes, don't get me wrong. I would do that all. I would do that for an hour. Um, my question is this. This is the question of the day. Okay,
Uh-huh.
regarding the Steelers' performance yesterday against the Browns. Of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers lose this game to the Cleveland Browns 13-10 on a game-winning field goal at the end of the game. My question is this, because I'm seeing a lot of angry people. I'm seeing a lot of
Mm-hmm.
upset people on social media. I'm taking it all in. I'm absorbing it all. And my question is this: what did you really expect from this game? In other words, this team come in with the number one defense in the league. Number one in the
Yes.
league. Nobody has a
Yes.
better defense than this Cleveland Browns defense. And the struggles that we've had all the way up until this point would indicate that we wouldn't play well against the best defense in the league.
Correct.
And going back to last week on this show, we said this was going to be the kind of game they're going to have. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be so bold to say that we knew that this was going to be the kind of game that you went out on a limb in your predictions for last week
Yes.
for the
Yes.
picks. You literally said the Browns would win 12-10.
Yes.
I said 9-6. I didn't think I
Mm-hmm.
thought you'd get a little less. I thought you'd get even less than we got during the game yesterday by both teams. But Mike, you said 12-10, the Browns would
Yes.
win.
Yes.
So for this reason and this reason, amongst a couple other reasons we're going to talk about, I'm not worked up this morning like everybody seems to be.
Neither am I.
I think that the game went exactly how we thought. I think the
Yeah.
game went exactly how we should have expected it to go, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that anything else would have been normal. Uh, Comparing to what's going on in the Steelers season all the way back to last season, this was the kind of game I predicted that they were going to lose. Of course, I have my
Mm-hmm.
patterns that I go by,
Yes, you do.
and I predicted them to lose this game. You predicted the score almost to the very number.
If that safety would have counted,
Yeah, if we wouldn't have got off the hook with the safety, I guess
I
you would
know
have
that
been right
should have been a
on,
safety.
and then they wouldn't have had to kick the field goal, and it would have been 12-10, which
Exactly.
would have been your score.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, why is everyone even more worked up today than they have been? I expected this, and again, as I said, I expected to take an L this week. I didn't think we were going to beat Cleveland both times. I knew that
No.
this team coming in with their number one defense was going to be trouble for our offense. It
Mm-hmm.
can't, really do much against a whole bunch of defenses, let alone the number one defense in the league. Uh, the DTR did just what I thought he was going to do. I thought he would play well enough to
Mm-hmm.
win this game in a 12-10, 9-6, something in that. I don't understand. This morning, everybody is just they're blown. They're out of their minds. They're ready to get rid of this guy. They're ready. Tell me what you listen. I want to know what the resolve is. Here we are heading into week 12. At this point, you knew what the problem was. You know what the problem is going into. What the, I mean, if we would go by what the fans would say, we would be starting Mason Rudolph, which at this point, if that's what you think is going to work, then let's give it a shot. If you think that bringing one of these guys off the bench is going to produce even more, you know what? Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not going to say one way or another. I can't speculate this, but what's got us to 6-3, 6-4 has been what we've been going with, and this is became the identity of this team. I mean, as rough as it is, this has become the identity of what this team is. And if you want this team to continue on the same path, which again, this isn't a terrible path, it's a very strange path.
Yeah.
But albeit it's not a very bad path. I think that they're have a very good chance of being 7-4 and then 8-4 going into these next 2 weeks. We're playing a bunch of below sub quarterbacks for the rest of the season. The only one that I would say that you could say is an elite quarterback is Lamar in week 17. But you know as well as I do,
we play well.
He gets hurt all the way. You know, prior to that game, he's going to get hurt. He's done it every season of his career. It seems like. I'm not sold that this guy is going to make it to the week 17 without getting hurt. So being that said, I think I have a list here, Mike, real quick if I can.
Okay, yeah, go, man. You're on a roll. I'm not going to stop you.
I had a list of guys. Okay, our next 7 quarterbacks we're facing. Here we go. Next week with the Bengals, which I think we're going to win this football game, Jake Browning. The following week we play Kyler Murray for Arizona. The following week we play either Zappy or Mac Jones, whoever's starting up in New England at that point.
Yeah.
Following week, Gardner Minshew. I'm kind of worried about him. But again, this follows into my pattern. After that, we have Browning again, Geno Smith, and then supposedly Lamar Jackson. So any one of these teams, and they don't have a really good defense like the Browns did, I think we're in every one of these games according to what it is that we've shown that we are.
Yeah.
Again, would it be better if Kirk Cousins was our quarterback? Well, yes, but that's not going to happen. For one, Kirk Cousins is on his team. For two, Kirk Cousins is hurt. For three, it's not going to happen. Okay, we could sit here and speculate time after time, or we could say, let's just, ride this thing out. Nobody's expecting a Super Bowl at this point, and go with what's been working. And as I said, it's oddly enough, it's been working. But we are sitting in a playoff spot. If the playoff started today, we would be going to Baltimore, Mike. So if it would stick the way that goes today, we'll play Baltimore in week 17, and then we would play Baltimore the following week, which I think is our best chance to win a game in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and because, we do play Baltimore tight. And we do know how, somewhat reason, the only quarterback we know how to contain is Lamar Jackson for somewhat reason. Guy's an MVP against everyone else, but against us, we're his kryptonite, and I'm okay with that. But back to this game real quick. The reason why I think you and I correctly predicted that the Browns were going to win this game was going to be a tight game, because we did not overlook their defense, where everyone else, every other,
that must be what it is, Mike.
Every other podcaster, every other sports writer, every fan was like, "Oh, look at that quarterback! Oh, the quarterback! They have the number one defense." Okay, not just in yardage, but like in scoring too. They're up there as well. They're like in the top 5 in scoring, number 1 in yardage for the 1 or 2 in the yardage. Yeah, of course, and we know our offense struggles. So yeah, we knew this was going to be a tight game, and it was going to come down to, who had the ball last. They had the ball last. They were able to move the ball. So yeah,
I think we scored 10 points.
We weren't dumb enough to overlook their defense. It's in our name. We're dumb yinzers, but we were the only ones apparently smart enough to realize, what, that's a really good freaking defense over there. They got two shutdown corners.
That's what we based our whole premise on, was how good this defense was.
Yeah,
on
I think we're the only ones in Pittsburgh who knew that the Browns had a good defense. Apparently, everyone just wants to look. Oh, their quarterback. But yeah, they have a good running game. Yeah, their line was banged up, but they have a deep offensive line.
When a team has a dominant defense, you really have to beware, because as you recall, Trent Dilfer, Super Bowl with a number 1 defense.
Yeah.
And you really can't, you can say what you want about top 5 defenses, but when it's the number 1 defense, you have the best defense in the entire, nobody plays defense better than you in the NFL. That says a lot. And All Thompson had to do was play well enough, and that's what he did.
That's what he did. Yeah.
And I tell you what, it really showed that this Cleveland Browns defense was crazy good,
Mm-hmm.
because not only were we not able to do anything, which that doesn't surprise a lot of people. It looked like it did in the San Francisco game, where our
Mm-hmm.
quarterback didn't have a second to think. The only person that really thrived against this defense was Jaylen Warren, and I think that this guy should have been playing 90% of the snaps at this point.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this guy's putting up the numbers. The other guy isn't. I'm tired of masking it because everyone's expecting this guy. You know what? He's the only one that got. He's the only guy that could perform. He's the only guy that is
Uh-huh.
performing. He should have been in 90% of the time, and Najee should have been coming out and pouring water into people's mouths during the break, because
Yeah.
he's soft. He's just not
And
gonna.
then he did you see the shit he was saying after the game?
What did he say? I didn't read into it. I saw the
Oh,
headline.
I got quotes pulled up and
Yeah, pull that up
everything.
for him. Yeah,
There's hold on. Talking about the offense, is it fixable? Yeah, but are we going to fix it? When asked, answering questions about the offense, it's hard. I want to say what I really want to say, but it's difficult. We're gonna have a talk, I guess. Let's say as a team, that's the best way to do it. Just all of us offensively, I think. There's some more good ones. I'm not going to talk about team stuff, my performance. I couldn't get things done. He acknowledged that. It seemed like every time I got it, seems like it was just the defense was playing to minimize my role or something like that. They were sitting on screens for me, even in the run game, just blowing stuff up in the run game. I couldn't get nothing going personally. Yeah, no shit, you couldn't get anything going personally. Here's what Pat Freiermuth had to say about Jaylen Warren. All the little screens and dump offs, he makes shake defenses shake all the time. It's big for our offense. Even like Freiermuth knows that Jaylen Warren should be starting. Here we go. Najee again of the offense talking over our staffer's attempt to end the questioning. We could fix it. It's tired. I'm just really tired.
tired.
Just stuff I don't even know how to. And then the interview ended. No, this guy. Oh, here we go. Asked if there's the if he felt Steelers had a team first attitude. Do I think everybody has a team first attitude on this team? Yeah, I'd rather not talk about the team. I'll just talk about me and my performance. If y'all ask a question about and then that's when the interview ended. And this guy, he's like Cam Hayward, doesn't do a lot, but talks a lot of shit to the media.
Yeah.
Why even
He
allude to stuff when you're not even part of the solution
he's
right
soft.
now?
He's soft.
Yeah, this guy, he sounds like he's stirring shit, is what it sounds like in the media. How about to say, I don't want to answer that question. I'm not going to talk about that. Or just banal stuff. Hey, we all have to play better. It's not just one guy. We all need to step up. How hard is that to say? I understand, we want, as fans, I want the players to say what they want to say. But at the same time, making allusions to like your coordinator, your coaches, your quarterback, your receivers, maybe you're coming off to me, he's coming off bitter that Jaylen Warren is the premier running back of the group.
Yeah,
And that's
Jaylen
just
Warren
how
has
it reads.
not. He
That's
touches
how
the
it
ball
reads.
9 times and gets 129
Yeah.
yards and a touchdown,
Yeah.
and Harris has 12 carries for
Yeah.
35. He should be bitter because he's getting his ass.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
It just, to me, the stuff that he was saying sounded like sour grapes. That's
oh,
what it sounds
definitely.
like. There apparently Deontay was yelling at him and Tomlin got into it like on the sidelines. And even like I was listening to the radio today, and a lot of reporters who've covered this team for decades and covered Deontay's his entire career, they were like, that's out of character for him. Like they always find him approachable. Like he even win, lose, draw, good game, bad game, Deontay's always available to the media. Today he wasn't. So there might be something going on, or he was just smart enough to know, hey, I don't want to pull kind of what Najee did. I don't want to say something that's going to get sounded like I'm throwing someone under the bus. I don't want to bitch out my teammates. I don't want to make it look like I'm not taking accountability. And he's going to talk to the media today. I'm interested to hear what Deontay has to say today after he has time to cool off and think. And I think he was smart by saying, I'm not talking to anyone. Sometimes, I think it's stupid not to talk to the media after the game. But if you're going to say something stupid and you are in the heat of the moment to remove yourself from that situation, I think that's the smart thing to do. And I think that's what Najee should have done yesterday. He was going to say, hey, I'm not in the headspace to talk to you guys right now, or just give cliche answers, because that's what's going to cause issues. Is saying vague stuff like Najee is saying. Either say nothing at all or say cliches after a loss like that.
Thing that we do have to be thankful for, Mike, because Thanksgiving is this week. One thing that we do have to be thankful for, and everybody should be happy about, is we have the Cincinnati Bengals up next on our schedule. The Bengals are a team that has the number 30 defense in the league, so we're going from playing the number 1 defense to number 30. This is a good thing.
We should be able to do something.
Joe Burrow is not playing. A guy named Browning is. This is a good thing. Things to be excited about. Yes. With 7 games left, Mike, here is what your division looks like. Baltimore, they're 8-3. Cleveland is 7-3. Pittsburgh is 6-4. Cincinnati is 5-5. Far from being out of this thing. And again, we can sit here and go on and on and on and on and on and on, like every other station that you turn on today, and you're going to hear about how bad Kenny is and how bad this offense was and how bad this was and how bad Najee. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk about. We're gonna tell it like it is, as we do, and everyone says that they tell it like it is, but they don't. They don't tell it like it is, because I'm going to tell you why. Because when we sit here last week and we picked 12-10, the Browns are going to win this football game, and we put heavily into consideration that they have the number 1 defense in the league. This is the thought process we're on. Yes, we know these problems are there. What are you going to do? As I keep saying to people, there's not much you can do at this point. We're kind of committed at week 12 with what we have going. So let's make the best of it. We're sitting at 6-4. We have an opportunity to win a handful of games these next 7. There's a very good chance we could sneak into the playoffs. As bad as we are, we could sneak into the playoffs. And let's just say again, we get the Baltimore Ravens in the first round. That's the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether it be in Pittsburgh or Baltimore, because sometimes we play better in Baltimore for whatever reason. So again, we will touch on those things, but I'm not gonna go on and on and on about them, because it's crazy to me, especially after the lead up that we had. I feel that it would be counterproductive for us to go against what we were saying. This was the exact game that I expected. I expected them to lose close, 9-6. You called a 12-10 win or loss by the Steelers to the Browns. These are the same problems that's existed since the beginning of the season. We have the same problems that existed last season. Again, it is what it is. If somebody is so smart they could come up with a solution to go to the stadium and fix this problem, by all means do it. If you can't, just go with the flow, because at this point you're not going to get anything different. You're probably going to beat the Bengals next week. You're going to get where's my list? You get the Cardinals after that. You get Zappy or Mac Jones after that with New England. Minshew, he's one that I worry about. We'll talk about more later. Browning again, Geno Smith, and if Baltimore is lucky, they'll have Lamar Jackson available in week 18 of the season, which again, I want to wait on that. I'm not even going to call that yet, because how many seasons has it been since he's finished the whole season? So, Mike, there's a lot we could talk about today. We will touch on those things, but I find it unnecessary to do what every other single station and every podcast and every talking head is doing right now, because it's a stupid.
We know the issues. We know what they are. We know Canada. We know
right.
Kenny. We know what they are. Like, we even called it last week before the game. Like, it's going to come down to the trenches. It's a cliche, but it's
going to be a drag them out, fight them, punch them in the mouth kind of game. And whoever stands up at the end wins. And guess what, Mike, you and I both had a feeling it was going to be the guys in orange helmets, and that's how it turned out.
Yeah. I think it even said like whoever punts last is going to lose.
Yeah.
And we punted last and we lost. And the thing is, like, everyone's going to, I know people are already harping on, they did it all through the game and they're doing it today. Dan Moore. Like, if you look at that first drive, Dan Moore and Broderick Jones did not have a great first drive. After that, they settled down.
Oh, it tightened up, yeah.
They tightened up. For me, it was Mason Cole, Daniels, and Singamalu who had the most trouble for the inside pressures. Yeah. They had a rough game, because a lot of the pressure came up the middle.
Right up the middle. Right up the gut.
And it wasn't even a whole lot of stunts. Like that first sack, that should have been a safety. That was a beautiful play call. They stunted Garrett in. They brought the defensive back behind. It confused Dan Moore and it confused Najee, like, of who to pick up who. That was a great play design. They're allowed to win too on their matchups. The other team is. But after that, our tackles settled down. It was the middle, man. A lot of it was just straight rushes too, man. Straight blitzes up the middle. They were having trouble, one-on-one blocking, picking up blitzers. It was just, their front 7 did better than our front 5.
And look around the division.
And that doesn't surprise me. They have a damn good front
Burrow
7.
Out. You go around the league. Rodgers out. You go down the list. Kirk Cousins out. We could
Yeah.
complain and go on and on about our quarterback situation, but you know what? Do you think these other teams are folding up and saying, you know what?
No.
Well, that's the season. If we had Joe Burrow, that this, of course, but you know what? Everything is not ideal. It
Yep.
is what it is. We have to continue to play the way we've been.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't. I after 18 games the past year and a half. I mean, is there anything that you could see with the group that we've got now? This is the result. This is what you have. This is your
Hmm.
Steelers, everybody. Don't
Yeah.
don't sit around and expect things to turn great in the next 6 weeks. It's not going to happen. I mean,
No.
you got to roll with what's working, and when you lose a game, and again, this wasn't a terrible loss. This is a pretty damn good Cleveland team, and when you have a
But
number one
everyone,
defense,
yeah.
come on,
But you know how it is with Steeler fans. Browns that should be an automatic win. That's
right?
you because no, you gotta look at the whole story of
And
this
I'm
game.
not convinced that they're going to finish better than we are. They're on one game
I
better. We
don't,
have 7 whole games left.
and you would like to think that our quarterback play is going to be better down the stretch. Now,
I
one
just
I heard mentioned, like, yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it, is sit Kenny just for a game.
right.
Just so, yeah, hey, get your head right.
Yeah, I don't
Watch it from the
disagree with you.
sideline. If we win, we win. We lose, we lose. But just sit down, watch it from the sideline.
Right.
Get your mind a rest. Get your body a rest. He's obviously struggling. He's not playing the way he was when we had those nice couple wins in a row. So, okay, you see this in other sports as well. Goalies struggling, pull them out for a game. Yeah,
Yep.
football is, it's a lot shorter. Each game means more. But come on now, you put Mitch out there, you put Mason out there. Are we losing much at this point? Gaining much? Probably not. Just the way Kenny's playing right now. So let him sit and watch for a game, and then get him right back out there. Unless one of those quarterbacks that you put in goes off. Okay, ride the hot hand. They struggle. Guess what? You have your number one quarterback ready to go back in.
Plus, it's going to get better. And I'm going to explain why.
Uh-oh.
The offense,
We're not playing number one defenses anymore.
exactly. The fact that we got 10 points against the number one defense, it's really exceptional, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Our play up to this point would to say that they probably would score less than that against the number one defense. The fact that we put up 10, it came down to the end of the game. They kicked the field goal to win. In the one game that we didn't end up pulling out on the last drive, these aren't the worst things. We're going to be facing the Bengals defense that's 30. We're going to be facing the Cardinals defense, the Patriots defense, the Colts defense, the Bengals defense, again, Seattle, and then Baltimore. I expect
the only defense that scares me is that Baltimore defense.
And I expect everything that went wrong yesterday to be better next week. I'm not saying we're going to go out and dominate and play an amazing offensive game, but everything that we struggled in with our offense yesterday, it's going to be better. Those things are going to get better next week, as they were last week, as they were the week before. Not the week prior to that, but go back to every game that was a game that was a potential win for the Steelers. And again, Jacksonville, San Francisco,
really good defense.
Cleveland, number one defense, and Houston. I mean, with the exception of this freak game, but this guy with what he's doing down there with Houston, that's a whole other story.
Oh yeah,
good for them. I'm really happy for them. I really am. But it's going to go back to the way that it was. And I agree. I don't disagree with you, Mike. At some point, if they want to sit Kenny down to let him, maybe, put that fire under his ass, be like, dude, I'm sitting on the sideline instead of playing while Mason Rudolph or Mitch Trubisky's in there. But again, I look for it to go back to, the way that it was prior to this week when we wasn't facing the number one defense. It's going to be the same kind of game. It's going to be the same kind of game against the Bengals, against the Cardinals, against the Patriots, Colts, Bengals, Seattle, and then the Baltimore game is always what a Baltimore game is.
I expect this to be that's going to be another 3-point game.
I expect this to be a fun ride. I just again, I can't sit here and say, well, you know what, this guy isn't the guy. Okay, maybe he's not the guy. That we have to figure that out eventually. But right now, sitting here, it reminds me of somebody I used to watch football with, and all they did the whole game was it was my dad. Okay, and all he would do was just sit there. These guys stink. Oh, you know what? You can't. I don't know. I'm trying to enjoy the game. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
you can't win every game. You can't win every championship.
No.
And you know what? You know how many teams are in this league that don't have an ideal quarterback situation?
A lot. There's a lot of teams. And like someone said it today, I heard said they're like, you know what? Kenny might not be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and that's okay. He can be that great number two that can come in and win you 4 or 5 games a year if your quarterback number one goes down. And that's not a bad career to have.
No.
And like there's I was listening
I'm
to like
sorry.
a former backup quarterback in the league. He was like, "We're some of the best quarterbacks in the world, but what separates us and like starters is they process the game a half second
You're
faster
right.
than us." And that's the difference between a touchdown, an interception, a fumble, a sack. And like we can make the throws, but they can make them consistently. They can read the defenses faster and more consistently than us. So I'm not if I'm talking bad about Kenny, yes, I know he's a hell of an athlete, a hell of a quarterback, but you know, there's levels and separations of guys, and I want him to get to that level. I just don't know if he's going to get to that level. And, sometimes I don't want to wait, to see if he's going to be that guy. And I know
Because
you have
again,
to wait on players, but sometimes, you
and I
gotta,
mean, at
you
this
gotta move
point, there's
on.
really not much we could do.
Yeah.
Um,
Look
we
at the
could put
49ers.
it
They
this
moved
way:
on
we could be
quick.
we could be 3-7 right now.
Yeah. And,
I
and the
mean,
thing is,
what would the state of Pittsburgh be if
oh
we were
God, that
three
would
and
be,
seven right now?
whew,
Again, we're
imagine if
sitting in
we,
a playoff spot
yeah.
as we speak. We're 6-4. We're one
Uh-huh.
game behind the Cleveland. We're 1.5 behind a team that's played an extra game than
Yeah.
us. We have a mad potential going into these last 7 games. Not because we're a great team. I want to put that out there because people are going
But
to
there's
say
not a lot of great teams out there.
there's not a lot of great teams out there, which
There's a
puts us
lot of
into a
average
pool of
teams
teams
out there.
that are average and puts
Yeah.
us right into the mix of things.
Yeah.
Again, if coming down to beating Kansas City in the conference championship, I don't think that's going to happen. But if you get
But
into
you
the
never
playoffs
know.
and
You
get
don't know until you
Baltimore,
play.
unless you get until you get Baltimore in the first round and get that win, and oh geez, that'll just everyone at that point will think we're the best thing ever. And then when we lose the following week,
And that's the worst team ever.
it comes
But
back to
like
what
here's what I want a lot like fans don't realize. When's the last time the Steelers rebuilt? Like a
right
full total rebuild. Even
98.
when even with those cower teams that were like, 6-10, 5-11, there were never real total rebuilds. We didn't go
Yeah,
out and cut a lot of people and then sign a bunch of free agents. It was just we're going to keep our guys, draft, develop. That's what the Steelers do, and we're doing it now, and we're remaining competitive every single year. So,
yeah.
like, we haven't had a full rebuild, so I don't know why we're bitching and moaning. It's not like hey, it's not like we gave up 3 first-round draft picks, a bunch of seconds, and $200 guaranteed $1 million to our starting quarterback. So if we do
Right.
need to start over, it's not going to hurt us.
We're right. We're not in a bad position. This isn't the
No,
worst thing ever. Could be
no,
a lot worse. Again, we could be sitting there
it
with a
could be
2-8
worse.
record.
Yeah, yes, we are. Like how, like Thomas said, we are spoiled. We want that success. But you and I have been around long enough. We know this is part of the ride. You're going to have years like this. People like
Um,
this. We weren't competing for championships all throughout the 80s and 90s.
Another thing I do want to touch on today, TJ Watt is not as great as people make him out to be, and I agree, and I'm going to tell you why. To say that him and Myles Garrett should be in the conversation for league MVP, I think is stupid.
Yeah.
Realize how stupid of a thing that is to say. For one, with all the offensive talent, for all the players that touch the ball on every given play,
Yeah.
to
It's
say
going to
that
be
these
hard
two
for a
guys
defensive player to ever win that.
now, Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, they both had a decent day getting to the quarterback. TJ got there once. I think Myles got there twice. Good for them.
Yeah.
But if you would take and you would match next to Max Crosby's numbers, Max Crosby for the Raiders, he doubles those guys in tackles combined. If you would take TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, who people say should be considered for the MVP of the league,
that's a bit much.
You would have to compare to somebody like Max Crosby, again, who is comparable in the sacks department, but he doubles, Mike. His tackle amount is double these two players put together.
Yeah, he has 10.5 sacks, 65 tackles.
65 tackles. And I'm certain that the other two guys aren't total 65 tackles. I don't know what they are.
I'm pulling them up right now. Give me 1 second here. Myles Garrett, he has 13 sacks. That's damn impressive. But he has 30 tackles.
30 tackles, and what's TJ have?
And I'm pulling that up just now. I'm sorry.
20?
Yeah. No, I haven't got there yet. Myles had 30, and then TJ has scrolling.
It's less than 30.
He actually has 36 total tackles.
So they have 66 compared to Max Crosby's 65.
Yeah.
In either one of these guys' names comes up in that conversation, which is stupid. I'm going to tell you a little secret about TJ Watt. He's really good. He does what he does at his job. His job is to get to the quarterback and every once in a while make a tackle. Nobody's expecting TJ Watt to have 10 tackles a game. Would it be great if he did? Yes. But have you ever seen a point in his career where that was the case? No. What you see that he does really well, he gets to quarterbacks, he gets them to them consistently enough where he could build up his numbers and have a nice, a nice line at the end of the year, and that's what it is. I mean, everybody's talking now about how he's not this, he's not that. I'm tell you one thing, he's not the league MVP. He's not the league MVP.
No, he's not defensive player of the year right now.
He's not defensive player of the listen.
Real quick. Does he look a little less explosive the past couple weeks?
Yeah, he does look good. I'm wondering if he's dealing with an injury.
Yeah, like a lower body injury. He just doesn't look as explosive and as strong as he normally is.
So with that being said, no, I don't think that either one of these guys, only because of the Max Crosby factor.
Yeah.
If that conversation ever comes up around you, bring up Max Crosby, it'll shut them down because again, they only have less. They have half the tackles that Max Crosby has with a comparable amount of sacks. For one, it's a crime that he's not being brought up. And these two guys are. Don't get me wrong. I think these guys are both great at what they do. And again, I think TJ is what TJ is. Some people are going to blow it up and say he's the best ever. Some people are going to some people are going to roll over and say, hey, he's not that good. The fact of the matter is, look at TJ. Look what he's done for the first 7 years. And this is what he is. If you expect him to do more, I don't know what to tell you. If he does less, you know what, he does less. But this is what TJ Watt is. And if you don't want that guy on your team, I don't know. I'd prefer him to be on the team.
Me too. I want him on the team. Like I'll criticize him if
the fact that he has interceptions and fumble recoveries for touchdowns. These are all pluses. People are expecting that every single week in, week out, which I don't think is realistic. I mean, watch the league all the way back to LT. Even Lawrence Taylor wasn't doing this that consistently. People have this in their mind, what they think the TJ is, or maybe the fact that everyone's telling people online that he's this, he's that. Go back, look at 7 years worth of numbers. This is what TJ Watt is. You're not going to get anything different.
He has 87 sacks in 7 years. So he's going to finish around 11 to 12 sacks a year on average,
which is only second all time.
Yeah, and that's not even a sack a game. So
if that's not good enough for you, if the fact that he's second best all time in this department isn't good enough, I don't have an argument for you. Then that's going to be a you thing. But this is what TJ Watt is. And if he gets an interception, if he takes one to the house, if he picks up a fumble every now and then, that's a plus. And you got to say, you know what? Thank goodness we got this guy on the outside. Yeah. If you're going to expect him to get 15 tackles, it's not going to happen. It never happened.
It's
unrealistic.
It's never. And, people got to realize, outside linebackers aren't going to get, especially in the 3-4, aren't going to get a lot of tackles. That's going to be your inside linebackers are going to be tackling machines. Like how many years, when we had Farrier and Timmons, those guys were almost 100 tackles each every single year.
And they were both inside guys.
And we're seeing it with Landon Roberts. He had
if you're an inside guy, you're going to be involved in way more tackles.
Yeah.
Because you're not covering one half of the field.
Exactly. Yeah. But, I just Watt, he just looks a little I want to say the past 4 weeks, a little less explosive than normal.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he's not dealing with an injury. Let's move on to Landon Roberts. Mike, he has 15 tackles yesterday, 11 tackles, 4 assisted tackles. Landon Roberts was on fire. He was everywhere from sideline to sideline. Since Ryan Shazier's been out and gone, this is the first linebacker that I've seen that's really worked sideline to sideline like this. And it's wild because he's not that narrow new age linebacker that you're seeing that's really working their way back and forth across the field.
Yeah,
he's a Lawrence Timmons built kind of guy. Yeah, and this guy's everywhere. You got to what he's bringing to the table, and if he could stay healthy, we really lucked out with this guy.
Yeah, he had a slow start to the team, in preseason. I would say the first couple of weeks we were like, oh god, this guy, he, come on, what's going on? Then he's just hit his stride. I think everything finally clicked for him how to play in this system, and then oh god, he's been a godsend, especially since losing Cole Holcomb and Quad. He's been that consistent piece in that inside backer position. He's been the number 2 guy the whole time. Now he's being the number 1 guy, and I thought he played a whale of a game. He was our defensive MVP. He was all over the place. Him and Keanu Benton on that defense yesterday were just, whenever there was a play to be made, it seems like it was one of those 2 guys making a big tackle.
Let's talk a little bit more. I mean, there is some good things that did happen. Of course, Jalen Warren, his rushing touchdown of what was it, 74 yards,
72, 74, yeah, something like
was
that.
the longest rushing regular season touchdown since 2005, since week 11 of 2005 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Also, when Sullivan got the interception,
Yeah.
that also
Huge play.
put the Steelers at number one in takeaways this year. So there, again, this game was what it was. I don't,
Uh-huh.
I didn't expect much different. And again, that's why I'm
No.
not as worked up as most people are
No,
today.
like we were watching the game at the studio and we were like, this is what the whole time yeah, this is what we expected.
I do. There was some play calling that I didn't necessarily agree with. It Mike was kind of justifying, but
I
there
wasn't
was.
justifying, but I could see the argument for what I was saying. But
I just
I
I don't
agree
think
more. I
Najee should
thought
have been in that game when it
no,
come down to the end.
no, that should have been Jalen.
It
I don't
should have
think
been
he would have
Jalen.
got the first down like you said he would have, but I think we would have got a whole hell of a lot closer to force the hand to go
Right.
maybe force a fourth down.
I mean, the thing was they haven't been able to stop him all day. Why
Yeah,
stop going to him?
yeah,
Why put the guy in that can't get out of the
yep,
backfield who had 12 carries for 35 yards when you have a
yeah,
guy that had 9 carries for 129
yeah,
yards and a touchdown? I say that he has to be in there on that play.
yeah.
Amongst other plays, don't get me wrong, there was other plays throughout the course of the game. There was plays that as hard as it was a lot of times to even stand in the pocket and throw the ball, there was plays that I thought the receivers could have helped out a little bit more, and those plays didn't play out. But again, this was what it was, and it's nothing that's uncharacteristic of what the Steelers have been doing up to this point, to where it's even an issue. I think that you just got to get ready for these Bengals. Come out next week, get back on track. If you could win another ugly close game,
Yeah.
you're sitting at 7-4 with a handful of games that are possible wins ahead of you. Mike, let me hit some of these numbers. Kenny Pickett was 15 for 28 for 106 yards. Najee Harris, 12 carries for 35. As we mentioned, Jalen Warren had 9 carries for 129 yards in the touchdown. Pickens had 4 catches, 38 yards. Deontay Johnson, 2 catches, 16 yards. Shandon Sullivan, an interception. TJ Watt, a sack. And the one punt, one of the most crucial points of the game, Harvin. Is this going to be a problem, Mike, with Harvin? It's a lot of times, as you mentioned, it doesn't happen all the time, but
Yeah.
sometimes it happens in the worst possible time.
Yeah.
I don't know what that punt was. Was it 12 yard? Whatever
A
it was,
12
it was
yard punt.
really
Like
bad.
he averaged like they were 39 yards average on 9 punts. We had 4 inside the 20. He just had that one bad punt.
Yeah,
I don't know what
they just got
happened.
the worst times with him.
Yeah, that's yeah. They're at the worst possible time. What like, God, I at one point it was like what 15 possessions or like 19 possessions, 15 punts. So I think
Yeah.
both punters were tired. Even their punter had a really short punt as well. One it wasn't as bad, but it was still a bad punt. It was
Uh,
just yeah, Harvin. He's being more and more consistent, but I think it's just every once in a while he's going to have a bad punt. They were breaking it down on TV, saying it looked like you're going to count for this guy coming in. He saw him coming in. Like no, it just hit off the Harvin's foot wrong, and if they had it in slow motion, Harvin knew he kicked it wrong. You saw the look on his face; it hit high up on his ankle. He had that look of like, he knew right away he messed up,
yeah.
and I don't, he's not going to sit there and say, "Oh no, the rush was coming out to change my launch angle." No, it was a bad drop, bad step, and a bad kick.
A couple other things, Mike. Keanu Neal is now on injured reserve. Of course, as
Yeah,
of last week, he has a
please.
rib injury. I'm hoping we see Minka back soon. We
Yeah,
need
yeah. I
Minka.
think Minka should be back this game by all accounts. This
A
this is the
couple
game.
interesting statistics before we move on here. The Browns, this is the first time the Browns win over the Ravens and the Steelers in consecutive weeks for the first time in 15 tries. And while you have your
Oh
laughing
God.
hat on, here's one for you, Mike. Kenny has one game with multiple touchdown passes.
Mhm.
Tommy DeVito, the Giants backup who played 4 games, already has 2.
Well,
So
see,
do what you
that's
want
why
with
it's
this.
just Tommy DeVito's living at home with mom and she's still taking care of her. Maybe that's what Kenny needs to do.
Yeah.
Just tell the wife, hey, I'm going back home to live
I
with
think
mom for
his
two
wife probably
weeks.
works and she probably works him like crazy. She looks like she's really upbeat. She just does.
And Kenny looks like that laid back, like,
Yes.
all
Kenny's
right,
like,
I'm just gonna go with it, babe. Okay, you
yeah.
wanna go? Let's go. All right, cool.
She's probably driving him into the ground. He should have waited. He should have waited. He should have went Ben's lifestyle and got married later.
Without the off-field incidents, Kenny.
Well, yeah,
Alleged. The alleged.
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 Mike, it's time. It's time to do our grades of the week.
F. F.
All right, here we
A
go.
for Ward. Everyone else, F.
Quarterback, Mike. What's your grade?
F.
Okay. Running
That's
backs.
not. I'm not being a hater. Not being.
I don't know what he did wrong, but I don't know what he did right either. So I couldn't give him an F, but I certainly couldn't give him an A. But we got to move on. Running backs, Mike.
Running backs. It's going to drive the average. A B plus because everyone else drove the average down for Jalen. Jalen was an A plus.
Tight ends, a couple of catches. We had a Fryermuth catch. We had a Washington catch. I like to see the tight ends get more involved.
Yeah, I saw them catching. A couple missed blocks, a couple bad blocks. So I'm gonna give them a C plus.
Move on to the wide receiver position, Mike. What do you give? And again, there's not much to go off of here, but what we do have: 4 catches by Pickens, 2 catches by DJ, 38 and 16 yards. Everybody else, not really anything significant. Mike, what do you give the wide receiver position?
D plus.
Offensive line.
D plus.
All right. Now we're going to hop over to the defensive side of the ball. The defensive line. What do you give Cam and company?
I give Keanu Benton and company. He's the most dominant player. Him and Larry O. I'm going to give them a C minus.
Linebackers. We're talking Roberts. We're talking Highsmith. We're talking TJ. 15 tackles for Roberts, a sack for TJ. Alex Highsmith was mixing it up. I seen him in there mixing them up. The other inside linebacker, I'm not even sure who it was yesterday.
Michael Walker.
But Mike, can you tell me what your grade for the linebacker position is?
See, like the stats look pretty good. What a lot of consistent pressure, but they were getting the ball away really quick. Oh God. Give me a C.
The secondary as a whole, safeties, corners, backups, anybody. Safety. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go C as well. They're especially in that last drive, they gave up a ton of yardage. Even before that, man, then Njoku was running free, but he kept dropping passes.
Boy, that was a godsend. The fact that these guys kept dropping the passes they did.
Like,
if they didn't do that, we might have lost 24 to 10. I mean, come on.
That's what surprised me about Njoku. Like every other game I've watched him play, even when the Steelers aren't playing, he seems pretty sure-handed.
I've always heard that he's sure-handed. I've never seen for myself though. I don't watch the Browns.
I don't watch the Browns a lot. They're on TV every once in a while. I think I'll catch him, and he seems to be a sure-handed guy. But hey, I'll take the drops.
Special teams.
Yeah, he had that one bad punt, but there were. God, when we needed good punts, he had the good punts. I'm gonna go with a B. Coverage was good,
Finally, coaching. Top to bottom. Coach T, Coach C, all of them. Coach Austin.
Let me
see.
Let's see.
All right, there you have it. There are the grades of the week, Mike. I'm gonna fly through the scores of the week and the standings. We do have a few other things we got to go over today because there was also college football. There was also Penguins, so I do want to touch on them. So let me get through these scores real quick. We'll do this. All right. Here we go. Hello. All right.
Hello.
So the first game of the week, of course, was that Baltimore Ravens game over the Bengals, 34-20. Dolphins 20, Raiders 13. Chase Claypool watch. Chase Claypool was having minor surgery, so his season line of 1 catch and 15 yards, you don't have to worry. That's not going to go anywhere. That's staying the same. As Chase Claypool will probably be back later on in the season, but just had an update that he has to get some junk out of the inside of his knee. Apparently, there's junk in there. You know, these
Cleaning
athletes
out
get a
the
lot of,
scar tissue. It sounds like.
yeah. The Bears lose to the Lions 31-26. I thought the Bears were going to win this. I was
That was a
scoreboard
close game.
watching that on the bottom of the TV the whole game. Lions pull it off 31-26. Jacksonville Jaguars back to their winning ways. They beat the Titans 34-14. Um, Trevor Lawrence looked
Really
super
good.
as always. The Green Bay Packers 23, the Chargers 20, the Texans 21, the Cardinals 16, Cowboys 33, Panthers 10. The Giants get a win 31-19 over the Commanders.
DeVito.
49ers. What's that?
DeVito.
DeVito. The 49ers 27, the Buccaneers 14. Bills get back on track with a 32-6 win over the Jets, avenging that week 1 loss. The Rams in a
wow.
tight one with the Seahawks, 17-16. They win.
Out.
This game here, the Broncos 21, the Vikings 20.
Yeah.
These Broncos, they're on a little bit of a streak now.
They're coming on, man. They're getting hot. They're getting hot, man. Getting hot at the right time of the year.
Yeah, they're doing good things down there in Denver. You got them from giving up 70 points 6 weeks ago to what they went 3 in a row, 4 in a row, whatever they're doing. They're doing
like that, yeah.
And again, the Monday Night Football game tonight is the Eagles at the Chiefs, which I think should be the best game of the week. Let me jump over to the standings real quick. In the AFC East, we have the Dolphins up top with a 7-3 record, followed by the Bills with a 6-5, Jets 4-6, and the Patriots 2-8. Over to the AFC West, the Chiefs 7-2, who could fall down to what the Browns are and be 7-3 tonight if they lose to the Eagles. Broncos 5-5, Raiders 5-6, Chargers are 4-6. What a disappointment with that Chargers situation. I could just take that Herbert and bring him home with me. The AFC North, Ravens up top of the division 8-3, Browns half game behind them 7-3. Steelers 6-4, Bengals 5-5. The AFC South, Jaguars leading the way with a 7-3. Texans 6-4. Colts 5-5. Titans are 3-7. Jump over to the NFC. This game tonight could. I tell you what, if the Eagles go 9-1, they win tonight because they're 8-1 now. Watch out for this team because I mean, you know, nobody's even close to that. Every team in the AFC has 3 losses or more.
Yeah, I think Lions might be the closest team to them.
They do. They're 8-2. We'll get to them in a sec. Cowboys are 7-3 in second place. Commanders 4-7. Giants in the basement with a 3-8 record. In the NFC West, the 49ers are 7-3. Seahawks are 6-4. Rams 4-6. Cardinals 2-9. As Mike mentioned, the Lions are 8-2, sitting comfortably at the number 2 seed in the NFC at the moment. Second place in this division, Vikings 6-5. Watch out for Dobbs. Packers 4-6, and the Bears 3-8. And finally, the NFC South, the Saints are 5-5 atop this division. Falcons are 4-6, the Buccaneers 4-6, and the Panthers are 1-9. By far the worst division in the NFL.
Why can't we be in that division?
I know. We'd be great. Joe Burrow's injury is being investigated because they were saying that he may not have reported an injury to his arm prior to this game where he tore his ligament on a throw. I don't know. It's crazy because if you go back and watch him getting off the plane, apparently he does have his throwing wrist wrapped.
Yes.
He comes out, plays a little bit, throws a touchdown, grabs his wrist. As you recall, this is one of the 2 games that I said keep a close eye on for anything weird happening because of the referees we talked about last week. We may get more into this week, but this is one of those games, one of the 2. And again, very bizarre injury situation going on there with Joe Burrow, but they do have, they're like the Browns. These guys like Tom Brady's names are still floating around out there. I can't possibly imagine Tom Brady coming to play for either Cleveland or Cincinnati, but I guess stranger things have happened.
Didn't he buy like an ownership stake of the Raiders or something like that? So he can't come out and play.
Yeah. Conflict of interest, dude. Get out of here.
A little bit. Well,
we'll give the Browns Joe Burrow. I mean, not Joe Burrow, but Joe Flacco, but nobody's getting Tom Brady.
Flacco signed with the Jets practice squad, I believe.
Oh, he's on the Jets practice squad now.
I think if I read that correctly, yeah, he signed with their practice squad. Don't
I wish
quote
he.
me 100%, but yeah. Just like real
Uh,
quick before we got on, I was scrolling through the news and like saw Joe Burrow practice squad Jets. I'm like, I knew they were talking. I don't know if it happened.
and that is my NFL to the moment, guys. We're going to hop over to college football real quick. Number 11, Penn State beats Rutgers 27-6. They play. Um, who do they play? Michigan State.
Last game of the year, yeah, should be Michigan State.
Friday. That game is Friday, Mike. Penn
Yeah.
State and Michigan State is on Friday.
It's Drew Alar might not be playing. He got hurt in the game, our starting quarterback.
Also, Ohio State beats Minnesota 37-3. They played Michigan, the big game this week in the Big Ten, of course. I want to throw it out there that the Washington State college football team beats Colorado 56-14. Colorado, the big story this year. Fans chanting in that stadium overwhelmingly, kind of overrated. They chant as they talk about the Colorado Buffaloes team that is 4-7, 1-7 in the Pac-12. The quarterback for Colorado tries a. I believe it was Deion Sun. The headline I wrote down was quarterback tries two forward passes on the same play and gets intercepted. I didn't see this play, but this sounds like what I expect is going on in Colorado at this point. Again, as I mentioned, they were 1-7 in the conference. And there's one more thing.
That line sucks. That kid gets destroyed every game. You know, he was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna throw it twice."
He got intercepted. Yeah. And one other thing, people are making and this is kind of off the topic. This is fan nonsense. Somebody did you see the sign? Somebody had a sign there that said Prime had sex with Shador's mother.
What?
Well, there was a sign somebody was holding. It said Prime had sex.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. Somebody I saw. I'm scrolling down. Somebody says this has no place in college football. Well, it's human nature. Relax, people.
Yeah, that's basic biology. You know, someone's in biology 101, and they're like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah, this is
showing
how
off their
things.
Knowledge.
Right. Mike, gonna hop over to the ice. Penguins, they win last night, 3-0. Another shutout over the Golden Knights from Las Vegas. This takes the Penguins to 9-8 overall. The Golden Knights are 13-4-2. No surprise that we beat another one of the better teams in the league. We tend to beat these teams. Colorado, we did it. The Golden Knights, we did it. The list goes on. Give us an average to below team, we lose. But this was another shutout. And this was our backup. Mike, can you pronounce his name for me?
No.
Alex Nedeljkovic. Vokic.
Yeah. Yeah, did you hear about you? There's controversy with this guy.
Why is that?
Post-game interview, he has a Myles Garrett jersey on.
Well, Myles Garrett apparently is signing back with the Steelers, from what I hear. Or not Myles Garrett. I'm thinking Miles Jack. So I'm sorry.
I was like, yeah, but he had a Browns 95 jersey on in the post game.
Is he from Ohio?
Oh, I have no idea. I like one of the hockey reporters tweeted it out. He's like, thoughts? Like, hey, as long as he's pitching shutouts, he can wear what he wants to wear.
What do you think about Miles Jack? What if he becomes an active linebacker on this team again? Will you be okay with that?
I would be okay with it, yeah, because we're not counting on him to be the guy alongside Devin Bush.
Right.
He's gonna have to play number 2.
I apologize to Miles Jack. I heard Miles and I ran with that. No, yeah, I didn't see that, Mike. You know what? Whatever. You know,
he knows
that dude from I don't even know if that guy's from Ohio, whatever. But the 3 stars of the game was our goalie, Noel. How do you pronounce Acciari? He was the 2nd star of the game for the Penguins, and Ryan Graves was the 3rd star. Malkin also had a goal in this hockey game yesterday. Penguins dropped one on Saturday night to the Hurricanes 4-2. Crosby had both goals in that game. Letang reached a 700-point plateau. Penguins back in action on Wednesday against the New York Rangers. Big week, Mike. Big week for high school football. Shore Stadium. The 5A and 6A games were played on Saturday at Norwin High School. Number 1 in 5A, Peters Township beat number 3 Pine Richland 43-17. Number 1 in 6A, Central Catholic beats number 2 North Allegheny 44-41. The games at Heinz Field this Saturday. First thing in the morning, 11 o'clock a.m. Single A, number 1 Southside, number 2 Fort Cherry. Should be a great game. Southside, of course, being from our valley here. Number 2, Steel Valley, Mike, get this. Number 1, Steel Valley in Double A. Number 10, Beaver Falls. You might recognize the name Beaver
Wow.
Falls, Joe Namath. Number 10, Mike, Beaver Falls gets to the Acrisure Stadium game to go up against Steel Valley, and that's who they lost to last year in the championship game. So we'll see if they can get a little bit of revenge, but they're coming in from the number 10 seed.
Let's
That
go
game is 2 o'clock p.m.
Falls.
Double A. 3A, Bell Vernon, who's the number 1 seed, is taking on number 2 Avonworth, who's just from right up the river here. And finally, 4A, making their 16th consecutive appearance at Heinz Field / Acrisure Stadium, is the number 1 seed Aliquippa. In 4A, they're taking on number 2 McKeesport.
Ooh.
And that game is the highlight game of the weekend on Friday, Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, 8 p.m. Aliquippa, of course, everybody knows Aliquippa High School now. They'll be trying again. Like 16 straight years they've been to this Acrisure Stadium game.
Yeah,
freakish.
I overheard a couple guys at work talking. It said it looks like for the next, I think, 2 years, they won't have to change their division.
No, they will be in 4A moving forward.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I'm just waiting for them. They have to go up against schools that have like 400 kids on the sidelines. Last year, they're playing a team that has 80 kids, and this team has like 40 or 30.
Yeah, I mean, as long as like these games were played in Norwin High School on Saturday or 5A and 6A. As long as Aliquippa stays below that, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah,
I mean, you come out, you got 23 kids on the sideline. There's no,
Yeah, they shouldn't be. They should actually be a classification lower.
Yeah,
but they're
they
get punished because they're so good.
They should be Double A. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
they should be where Beaver Falls is. What I'm saying.
Yeah, they're even the exact same size schools, and they should be at that level. It's not their fault.
Again, Friday, 11 a.m. is a single A game. Double A game is 2 p.m. Triple A is 5 p.m. And the Aliquippa McKeesport 1 and 2. The 4A game is at 8 o'clock p.m. You're not going to want to miss that. They will all be televised for that day. Check them out. This is going to decide
that Aliquippa McKeesport game, man. I love Aliquippa, and I'm born from McKeesport. It's not fair.
Well, these will decide Whippio Gold. The winners of these 4 games will go on in the states and have a couple more games and chance to play the team from the eastern side of the state in the same position for the state gold. So a lot of things going on there. Mike, I do have all the picks down. As a matter of fact, we could have did it today because tonight's picks are the same. I do know who won. You both did very well. I just want to put it to you that way. I'm not going to bring it up till Derpy's on the show.
Oh, no. Yeah,
but, both Ian's done really well. One of Ian's only
run going.
One of you's only lost 3 games through the whole entire thing. But again, we'll talk about that a bit more tomorrow. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
Oh, the2dumyinjures.com. We have our links over there. We have the merch over there with the blog over there. Blog will probably be going up tomorrow. I didn't have time to work on it today. So yeah, the blog recapping this horrid or, predictable weekend will be up there. All at the2dumyinjures.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumyinjures.com. www.the2dumyinjures.com. Mike, here we are 2 months, and I'm still forgetting to put that V at the beginning, and sometimes I could just kill you.
Hey, guess what? Guess what? Guess who owns the domain again?
Who?
Me. I was able to get the 2dumyinjures domain.
Oh, were you? Okay, I see.
Yeah, I got it. Getting stuff linked up is I'm having a little trouble doing it, but yeah, we own the domain at least.
All right, whatever that means, we'll go with that. We can't change it again.
I won't change it again, but if you type in 2dumyinjures, it'll link you right.
It'll still take to us.
Yeah. I just got to get that part figured out. Oh, whoa! DJ went after Canada on the sidelines. Jones had to pick him up and carry him away. Oh, wow. I knew there was a blow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You mentioned the DJ.
I know DJ had something, and that's like people like the reporters who deal with him on a daily basis say that was out. This whole thing is out of character for Deontay Johnson. They said he's a real stand-up guy when you interact with him, even when they watch him in the locker room interacting with other people. He seems like a stand-up guy. That's wild.
I don't see him as a stand-up, but that's just my personal opinion.
Well, like that, yeah. For that
I don't see him as a person. I don't see him as a stand-up guy.
But for what they see in the locker room,
he's the guy that
he keeps things professional in the locker room.
He's the guy that bailed out on the kids last year in the camp, and
F them kids.
So
No,
that's
that
where I'm
wasn't a
coming
cool.
from.
That wasn't a cool move, but like, hey, what they see in the locker room, him being a professional
I don't know.
inside that setting,
I've never
they
seen
said
him.
that's out of character. Yeah,
If I seen him in the locker room, I might have different opinion just from what I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I
Just from
just,
what we see and what
but
they see,
again,
there's
that
perception is reality. So
and I
that's
make
fair.
that my my
Yeah.
stance that that's my opinion. Mike, we're gonna hop on because this is Bungles week. We are going to we're gonna go to the Bungles trivia. Are you ready for some Cincinnati Bungles trivia?
Oh yeah.
Steelers freak on the board. Play along. Here we go. Which of the following Cincinnati Bengals receivers was the tallest? I'm looking for the tallest in this group. Was it Carl Pickens? You remember him from the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Was it AJ Green? You remember him from the early 2000s? Was it Chad Johnson? How everybody remembers Ocho
I
Cinco?
love Ocho Cinco.
Or was it D. Chris Collinsworth? Guys, Chris Collinsworth, you cannot forget that he was a very, very good Bengal receiver at
He
one
was
time.
too. Pro
So you
Bowler.
think about those names, everybody: Pickens, AJ Green, Chad Johnson, Chris Collinsworth. Will come right back and finish the trivia up. But we're live every day from Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here. Or if you don't catch it here, you just want to listen to the show, maybe in the car, maybe at the gym. The show that we do live goes up every day over on Spotify at 8 p.m. So you can just put it on in podcast and listen to it, do your thing. But go check it out. It goes up over there every day, 8 o'clock. All right, guys, the Bungles question of the week, because this is who we play this week is the Cincinnati Bungles. Which of the following Cincinnati receivers was the tallest? Was it A, Carl Pickens? Was it B, AJ Green? Was it C, Chad Johnson? Or was it D, Chris Collinsworth? Steeler Freak on the board is saying AJ Green, he's guessing. Mike, who do you think?
I'm going with Collinsworth.
Chris Collinsworth. How tall was he?
Yeah, I think he's pretty tall.
All right, Mike says Chris Collinsworth. Is this your final answer, Mike?
Final answer.
All right, let me lock in place. There we go. You were locked into place with Chris Collinsworth. Question of the day, guys. Which of the following Cincy receivers was the tallest? Was it A, Carl Pickens? Was it B, AJ Green? C, Chad Johnson? D, Chris Collinsworth? I recall them all being kind of tall guys. The answer was Mike. Again, he chose Chris Collinsworth. Steeler Freak chose AJ Green. The answer is, guys, 6'5". Chris Collinsworth was the tallest receiver out of those receivers for Cincinnati. So Chris Collinsworth, that goofball. Can you imagine?
He's a tall,
I can't even imagine watching him play, to be honest. But we do want to thank everybody for checking us out. We appreciate each and every one of you. As always, we couldn't do it without you. Mike, anything before we get ready to take off, man?
We called it, Ryan. We called this game. We knew it was going to happen.
That's because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yep. It's
and you work with me, so
yeah. Everything we talked about happened. That's all I'm going to say.
Big game tonight, everybody. Eagles versus Kansas City, Monday Night Football, between the two teams that played last year in the Super Bowl. What did I learn, Mike? Here's my thing for the week or for the day. What did I learn from the internet this week? This week? I learned the term throat goat, which is used for a woman who, does her woman thing on a guy, is referred to as a throat goat. So do what you want with that. Use it. But I learned this off the internet. The internet is great.
The internet is great.
Is that it, Mike? Is that it,
yeah,
throat goat?
That real quick, yeah. Collinsworth does own PFF. That's why the Steelers have bad grades on the PFF.
Exactly. You want to hear another one I seen on the internet?
Oh God, yeah.
Instead of being called panties, why aren't they called containers? With that being said, everybody, you have a great day. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. We'll be back tomorrow to talk all about it for Mike, myself.